Good morning. This is Cynthia A. Johnson with Stand Up Now. Thank you for tuning in to this show. I hope you find this half hour enjoyable and inspiring as we showcase regular people from the city of Detroit who are doing great things and really making a difference in our city, the city of Detroit. Good morning, family. This is Stand Up Now with Cynthia A. Johnson, and you're listening to us on none other than the great Gospel 1440 WMKM Reborn. And if you don't know this already, and I think some of you already do know, you are more than welcome to listen to us by going online and going to the link www.gospel1440.com. And today, tell me something, y'all. Have you ever wondered what happened to Jimmy Hoffa?
July 30th, 1975. Jimmy Hoffa headed for a rendezvous with two Teamster officials, Anthony Giacalone and Tony Provenzano, a former ally with whom Hoffa had had a fistfight in prison. At 2 p.m., Hoffa arrived at the Macus Red Fox restaurant. After waiting half an hour, he entered the restaurant and telephoned his wife to check whether Giacalone had called. Josephine Hoffa has not seen her husband since.
Or do you even really care? I mean, it's been such a long time, close to, I think it's been a half a century almost.
The car parked down here. Can you remove it now?
Police searched the area for clues or a body. But industrial Detroit provides countless places to dispose of a corpse.
There has been nothing, no calls or notes.
As a police official, what do you think happened?
There's too much to speculate on. I believe it's just too early, perhaps the next 24, 48 hours.
Could someone have snatched Hoffa from the restaurant in broad daylight? Charlie Schatz was an old friend.
Jim would have never walked into a trap. It's been tried before. This has been somebody that's been very close to Jim that he trusted.
Hoffa's foster son, Chucky O'Brien, was questioned. Police found blood in the car O'Brien was driving, but tests proved it was that of a fish. Hoffa's family waited in vain, hoping desperately to hear from his kidnappers. No ransom message ever arrived.
Sir, were you in the Detroit
But
area?
what about the men Hoffa was supposed to
I
meet?
tell you that Mr. Provenzano hasn't been in this town for the last 15
Tony Provenzano and Anthony Giacalone had airtight alibis for the time of Hoffa's disappearance. Both denied arranging any meeting with Jimmy. Ironically, in 1978, Provenzano went to prison for the murder of another Teamster official. 4 of Provenzano's associates were also summoned to a grand jury hearing. Sal and Gabriel Briguglio, and Thomas and Stephen Andretta. Each refused to talk. In 1978, Sal was murdered gangland style on a New York street. The government still has no case for the murder of Jimmy Hoffa, but the testimony of a mafia hitman turned government informant is considered by the FBI to be a plausible description of the kidnapping drama. Investigative reporter Dan Mulday has been researching the Hoffa case for 5 years.
In the first act, Hoffa drives from his home, arrives at the restaurant expecting to meet 2 underworld figures. He's picked up by 1, perhaps 2 close associates, driven to a private residence 4 minutes away from the restaurant, where he is ambushed and killed. His body is then stuffed into a 55-gallon drum and taken to a location where it is placed in a compactor for junk cars. It is crushed and it is smelted. Hoffa's body will never be found.
Anyway, I have a guest in the studio who has said that he actually saw Mr. Hoffa be thrown into at least a 6-foot hole and then covered. So, and he was 18 at the time. Good morning, Mr. Michael Yarbrough.
Good morning, Cynthia. How are you today?
I am great. All right. So, of course, there are going to be people like I was who were wondering, listen, man, here you talking about something that happened more than 40 years, and now all of a sudden you are coming up and claiming that you actually saw the man. I don't know if he was killed, already dead, but you saw this man be pushed into a hole near Tower 3 of the Renaissance building.
Tower 300.
Okay, Tower 300. Tell us a little bit about you and why. So why now?
Well, I've been, actually, I came forth right after it happened. Members of my family were law enforcement. I came to them and told them what I had seen, but they told me that I should keep that to myself because it would endanger my family and I. But I'm a retired corrections officer for the state of Michigan, and since I've been retired, not only have I came forth to the authorities about Hoffa's disappearance and murder, I've came forth to several agencies, the FBI, Wayne County Sheriff, Michigan State Police, Detroit PD, several media that refuse to.
Hold on for a second, Michael. First of all, you're a black man. Nobody's going to believe you. Not even some black folks won't even believe you. And I had some issues with you believing the story. Right. Until one morning, you called my number and I took the time to really listen to what you were saying. See, sometimes people will say to you, okay, I'll check it out, or I'll contact this person for you, or I'll do this, that, or the other. And they just, trying to appease you. I only mention the race thing because so often we don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe if it comes from somebody black, it must not be right. If it comes from white, it must be absolutely right. White, right. Well, it's coming from a black man. It's coming from Michael Yarbrough. And as I told you yesterday, if I find out that what you are saying is incorrect or a straight up lie, I will call you out. And I would help the police to arrest you for making such a claim.
I would be more than happy for that to happen, but unfortunately that's not the case.
And so I say all that to say to everybody, please just listen carefully. And for law enforcement, especially in the downtown area, and Mary Sheffield, who is the city council person in District 5, that area where the Renaissance building is happens to be in District 5. Mm-hmm. There is Stephanie Chang, who is the state rep of House District 6. And then there is no one in the Senate seat 4 yet. I only mention all these names because you have an opportunity to make something wrong right for the family of Jimmy Hoffa. And I asked you even yesterday, did you go to the Hoffa family and even talk with them?
Yes, I did. I spoke with James Hoffa Jr., and I spoke with his sister. She's a retired judge from down in, I believe, Arkansas and Alabama. And both of them told me to go to the FBI about the situation.
Why do you think they told you that?
Because they've heard so many different stories about where he's at and
That's
this
right.
and that.
There are so many crazies out there trying to claim that they know where Jimmy Hoffa is. And there was a digging of for him? Who was doing the digging trying to locate him?
Investigators on Tuesday were searching for the body of Jimmy Hoffa in an overgrown field in the U.S. state of Michigan. The American labor union leader was last seen on July 30th, 1975, outside a restaurant in Oakland County, Michigan, but his body was never found.
This is a continuous, ongoing investigation, probably one of the longest and biggest investigations in history.
Over the years, authorities have received various tips leading the FBI to possible burial sites near and far. But recently, a reputed mafia captain said through his lawyer that Hoffa was buried beneath a concrete slab in a barn in Oakland Township. The now 85-year-old mafia captain, Tony Cirilli, was in prison for organized crime when Hoffa disappeared.
Where's Jimmy Hoffa buried? I mean, that's the question that always is asked every time somebody brings up law enforcement. And, you know, you always like to get the body in a homicide case. You always want to find out what happened. You have a person who is pretty popular and in charge of hundreds of thousands of union people. He was a large union official in this country. And it's unsolved in terms of, you know, where the body is and who killed him. So it's important for law enforcement. It's important for the family. It's important for the union. It's important for us to try to find out what happened.
Authorities suspended their search for Hoffa's body late on Tuesday afternoon, but expected to resume their efforts on Wednesday.
There were some claims that so-and-so, and I don't know who so-and-so is or who so-and-sos are, making claims that they knew where he was buried, and then the excavation process went on only for the FBI to find nothing.
Right.
Where was that?
That was throughout the city, throughout the state of Michigan and in the Metro Detroit area. But each time that the FBI listened to these 15 people that came forth, which were of the mob, the people that killed Hoffa, I called the FBI and told them that they were wasting their time, energy, and resources digging, and they still went ahead and wasted $3.5 million of our U.S. tax dollars to no avail. Now, I find it kind of interesting that when you go back to the Nixon administration, it was a black man, a security guard, that informed America that about the Watergate scandal. He was a black man. I'm a black retired corrections officer, and I'm informing America of what I seen, which Richard Nixon was involved in as well with the Hoffa case. And
Wait, stop. What do you mean he was involved?
Well, he, at the time, when...
now you're making allegations. You don't know that for a fact.
No, it is fact. It is fact.
How do you know that, though?
It's documented that Nixon was getting funds from the Teamsters pension fund as hush money to cover up the Watergate scandal.
Did you see that?
No, it was
a document. Let's talk. Let's stick strictly. I want us to stick strictly on not what has been documented. I want us to stick strictly on what you, Michael Yarbrough, know regarding Jimmy Hoffa. That's all we want to deal with today.
Great. Okay. October of 1975, October 9th of 1975, I came to Inkster, Michigan to look for employment in Detroit. I had...
Wait. You say you came to Inkster, Michigan to look for employment in Detroit.
Correct.
Did you live in Inkster, Michigan?
No, I lived in Benton Harbor, Michigan, but I was attending Ferris State College in Big Rapids, Michigan. I dropped out of Ferris State College, so my sister told me to come down to the Detroit area because there was plenty of jobs at the time. So I saw on TV that day when I got here, October
When you
9th,
got where?
In Inkster. When I got in Inkster, October the 9th of 75, that the Renaissance Center was hiring for employment because they were planning on having a grand opening in 1977. So during that time in 75 of October, phase 2 was under heavy construction at the Renaissance Center. And as I went down to the building, I asked the security guard where was...
When you went down to what building?
The Renaissance Center building.
Okay.
I asked security in the Renaissance Center where was Clean America, which was a temporary employment agency that hires for jobs. So I was trying to get a security guard job. So the security guard told me to go down the escalator to the ground floor and make a right. So I made a left by accident and went through Tower 200, and then I went, which was complete, and then I went to Tower 300 where I saw a whole lot of construction area. I heard a scream, a loud scream, so I assumed that somebody had got hurt, a construction worker. So I entered an unrestricted area, and it went down to even a lower area. And as I looked up about 24 feet in the air, I saw a cement truck to the Mr. Hoffa's right. He was being held by the arms by two mobsters with black suits on, John Belushi
You don't know
glasses.
there were mobsters, but let's just
well,
say...
they were mobsters.
Okay, wait a minute. See, you should already know. We don't go by assumptions. We go by fact. The fact is that you saw a man, you say he was Jimmy Hoffa, being held by two men dressed in black. That's all at this point that you know.
Well, after the years went by, my research...
No. Stop. That's not, I'm not talking about after the years of your research. I'm talking about what you saw on that particular day. On that particular day, you saw who you say was Jimmy Hoffa.
Correct.
Being held by two men dressed in black.
Correct.
Two men of color or white men?
Two white men.
Okay, so two white men were holding Jimmy Hoffa by the arms.
Right.
Okay, go on.
At a construction area of it was a pillar, a large hole, which is constructed into a pillar, and behind
What's a pillar?
It's the foundation of the building that holds the foundation of the Renaissance Center up.
Okay, gotcha.
It's about a 24-foot pillar, and it's about maybe 60 feet wide or more, maybe 80 feet wide. But anyway,
the hole was 80 feet wide?
Yes, approximately 80 feet wide, close to 80 feet wide.
Okay, go on.
But to Hoffa's back, to his right side, in the back of him was a cement truck, and to his right side to the right side was a cement truck, and behind Hoffa, and to his left side was a burgundy 1975 Mercury Marquise, the very vehicle that they found a hair of his hair in the back seat was in the back of Hoffa, and as he was screaming for help, they pushed him into the hole, and immediately cement started gushing out of the cement truck on top of him. And as I was standing there, a third mobster walked up to me and said, he took his glasses off, showed me his gun, and he said, "You better keep moving or you're going to be next." I said, "You don't have to worry about me, man. I'm out of here." So as I started walking down out of Tower 300, I looked over my shoulder, and
was Tower 300 under construction, or was it not even a tower at that time?
It was just being under construction.
Okay.
Phase 2. Phase 1 was complete, which was Tower 100, 200, and the center tower. They started Phase 2 in 1975. As they started Phase 2, it was under a whole lot of construction. So there was all of a sudden, it seemed like a mad rush to pour cement. And I seen all these people moving very, very fast to get this thing done that day, which they did.
What day was this again?
It was a day I came up here, October the 9th of 1975, my brother's birthday. And so as I was exiting from the third person that came up to me, as I told him, "You don't have to worry about me, I'll be next."
Wait. You said the third person. Who were the first and second people?
The first and second people were the ones that was holding Hoffa and pushed him into the hole.
Okay.
The third person I found to be was a mobster hitman that represented a threat to me. He came after me, and I hid on a bathroom toilet, and it was like 14 stalls in the bathroom.
Wait a minute. Did the first and second people that you saw holding Hoffa, did they come up to you? You just saw them. They didn't say anything to you.
No, they didn't. But
okay, so the third person said, "If you don't get out of here, you're going to be next."
Right.
After he said that, then what? Take us through each step.
I walked about 25 feet from him, and then I looked over my shoulder, and he was approaching me rapidly. So I started to run. I ran to Tower 400, I saw a restroom, men and women restroom. I ran inside, and there were about 12 to 14 stalls. I hid on the toilet in the first stall, and as I was hiding, the third person came into the bathroom. I saw his black shoes under the stall, and he immediately turned around and left out. So I waited about 5 minutes. I came out and went up on Atwater, which is over by the hotel exit area. And as I was going out the door, I saw that burgundy 1975 Marquise coming around Atwater slowly. So I got scared and ran back into the building and hid on another toilet stall in Tower 100 for about 20 minutes. And then I finally got the courage to go back into the garage area and got into my 1970 Firebird Pontiac and went back to Inkster. And that's when I told my family members
Okay, stop right there. So we're missing something, because you said initially that he said to you, you're going to be next if you didn't move. And initially you said, you don't have to worry about me, I'm gone.
Right, I'm out of here.
Okay, so I'm confused. We're going to have to go back to when he said this to you. You were in an area that you weren't supposed to be.
Correct.
And you're saying that you actually saw Jimmy Hoffa. How did you know it was Jimmy Hoffa?
Because when I went back to Inkster that evening, it was a breaking news flash on Channel 2, Channel 4, and Channel 7 saying that Hoffa was missing. So I said, wow, that's the guy I just saw downtown that got killed. That's how I positively identified Jimmy Hoffa as the man in the middle.
Okay, so when you were in the area being
Tower 300 was under heavy construction during it was 2 phases. Phase 1 and phase 2 was the phase that I came into.
Do y'all have any any questions? 313-871-6094 or 313-871-6095. We are lucky enough to have Mr. Michael Yarbrough here, who is telling us about his recount of him seeing Jimmy Hoffa, him believing he saw Jimmy Hoffa, or somebody was pushed into a hole. And he says that he believes that it was Jimmy Hoffa. He states that unequivocally it was Jimmy Hoffa that was pushed into a big hole, and the hole was quickly filled with cement at the Renaissance Center. But I still want to go back to when you said that this man told you, if you don't leave, you're going to be next. And I'm confused with that, because you said when you saw this and you saw him approaching you, you ran into a bathroom stall. But prior to that, you said that the guy said something to you. So did he say something to you, or did you run first? What happened?
He said something. He walked up to me and he stood there and took his John Belushi glasses off, and he had these killer eyes, and he showed me his gun that was under his coat, and he said, you better keep moving or you're going to be next. So I threw my hands up and I said, you don't have to worry about me, man. I'm out of here. So as I walked away from him, I went 25 feet away from him. Something just told me to look over my shoulders, and he was coming at me. So all I could do was run. You know, I was trying to get out of there. So I ran and I came into Tower 400, and I saw the sign.
Wait a minute. Wait. You said you looked to your right.
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you positioned, and where was he positioned when he said, if you don't leave this area, you're going to be next?
He was standing right next to me, just as close as me and you are right here.
To your right or to your left?
To my right.
And then
right to my right, just like he's sitting there.
Okay, so he was to your right.
Yes,
and
he was.
So then you turned around. Did you face him? What happened?
As I was looking at them push Hoffa into the hole, I looked around, and he was walking up to me. And he stood there and took his John Belushi glasses off, and he had these murderous eyes I've ever seen in my life. And he showed me his gun, He had a black suit on, white shirt, black tie, black shoes. And he said, you better keep moving or you're going to be next. So I complied. And as I walked away, something must have told him I better get him. So he came after me, and I started running like hell, man. I mean, excuse my language, but I ran, and I saw the sign in Tower 400, which was the hotel, another hotel name. It's not the Marriott. It wasn't the Marriott back then. It was another name. But I ran into the hotel part at 400 building and got into on the first stall of 12 to 14 stalls.
Okay, let's stop right there. Okay, so at this point, by the time you start running, you're saying that did you see the truck pour the cement?
I actually saw the truck, the ball on the truck.
Okay, so here's the question that a lot of people are going to ask. Okay, so you saw this happen.
Yes, ma'am. I actually did.
So what are we supposed to do? Tear down the Renaissance building to get to this body, or to get to his bones?
No, at this time you can walk right into the building. I can stand right on top of where he's at. There's elevators going up and down by him every day, and it won't interfere with the actual day-to-day. If they do a search, a non-intrusive search, or an intrusive search, it won't interfere with the day-to-day activity of the building. It's very accessible where he's at. 8 to 10 feet. I can take you in the building right now. We can stand right on top of him. So it's in a location where it won't disturb the building. Where it won't fall or anything like that. He can actually be cut out, or they can use a tool to do a DNA test, and I guarantee you 100% they're going to find Hoffa's remains in that location. If they'll just give me the opportunity to go inside the building and the FBI and show them where he's at, all of these theories and myths about Hoffa be solved, But for some odd reason, they refuse to follow my tip after 15 mobster tips and $3.5 million of taxpayers' money being wasted. They still refuse to listen to my tip. That's why I came to your show, to try to see if I could talk to someone in law enforcement that would be willing, or either the President of the United States, Obama, and Congressman John
Do you know
Conyers.
How far-fetched this sounds?
It may sound far-fetched, but it's a fact. It's not a theory. It's a fact. It's what I've actually witnessed and saw.
And let me tell you something. Although it sounds far-fetched, for me to have you on my show, Cynthia A. Johnson to have you on my show, and for people to know me and know how I am, they already know that, and especially since I've already told you that if I find that your story is a lie, I'm going to help the police.
I would be more than happy for you to do that.
I'm going to help the police. I happen to believe you.
Well, the best thing to do, Cynthia, in this regard is to if I could get somebody to just go in there, And
you say that you've already contacted Nelson Saunders from John Conyers' office, and he said that he's going to contact the congressman and talk to him about it.
Right.
But you haven't heard from him either.
Not yet.
I'm asking anyone who knows Mr. Conyers, and I happen to know him, but I know that these days he's extremely busy. Mm-hmm. But we need to get this. If in fact what you are saying is true, and I do believe you, it needs to be solved, and it needs to be taken taken seriously. It's just that this man came to me, and after several purposefully not answering your calls, one day I just decided, okay, let me just take the time to listen to this man, and I'm glad that I did. And I hope somebody else is listening too, and I especially hope that the FBI is listening and the Detroit police, if you're listening. And I want you to tell them again, where do you say that the remains of Jimmy Hoffa are?
The remains of Jimmy Hoffa is in the Tower 300 in a pillar, which is very accessible, and I can take you right to the location.
Is it on the ground floor?
It's on the ground floor. And ironically speaking, I'm not the only witness. There's another witness that lives in Ontario, Canada, Hoffa's limo driver, Marvin Elkins, / FBI informant. They won't even believe him. He came forth in 1985 telling them the exact same thing, what I'm saying, about what he heard from mobster Anthony Giaccani, saying that when they had a meeting back in 1985 with mobsters, Marvin said that he heard the Detroit mob boss Anthony Giaccani say good morning to Jimmy Hoffa, boys. So that's he's an ear witness, and I'm an eye ear witness.
All right, Mr. Yarbrough, I'm glad that you came on the show. I hope that somebody heard you and at least check into it. It's not going to hurt you. We have spent millions on top of millions of dollars trying to find Mr. Jimmy Hoffa. Maybe perhaps this is the time for us to really get to the bottom of it. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to Stand Up Now with Cynthia A. Johnson. I appreciate you. And you know what? I love y'all. Bye-bye.
We're all